Power lunch.
Welcome to, if you're in Ottawa, to a very rainy day. We had such a strong streak of warm days.
I mean, the long weekend was very warm.
It was.
Right? The long weekend was that's what more could you ask for? If you were out camping or something, that was a good weekend to go.
I actually keep forgetting it was a long weekend.
Yeah, well, it's different when you work for yourself.
Yeah.
There's never really a weekend.
That's true. Welcome to our Power Lunch. My name is Dakota.
I'm Jeff. Hello. Welcome.
And we are the founders of Winnacon Investments. That is our asset acquisition company. We do multifamily acquisitions and then management. So for those of you who have not joined us before, that's who we are. And for those of you who are joining us again, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for your continued support.
Yes. I feel like we don't have any big, crazy news because we've been so here.
We're moving, which you guys already knew about, so we're doing a lot of packing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
Oh, we got to go and see our new apartment last week. We've already seen it, but we got to go back and actually look at it as our apartment now, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Do some measuring because obviously we have to do a lot of downsizing. So we've discovered that it is very hard to find a decent sized condo couch.
Yeah.
That's very tricky.
They're either way too small or way too big. That's it.
Yeah, we have a very specific size that we are looking for, and it's proven to be very tricky to find that size.
Yeah.
So it's either a love seat, which isn't big enough, or they're like big, crazy sectionals. So
yeah,
that's what we've been up to the last week or so.
That's been keeping us pretty busy.
Yeah. Along with keeping our projects going and all that stuff. But yeah, so that's our life update. But we have a topic that is really important, really, if you're trying to create a new habit, if you're trying to build a business, if you're in real estate. It's a very important topic, and I don't know, I feel like it can be overlooked almost, the importance of it.
Yeah, we want to talk today about momentum. Keeping momentum, actually getting momentum.
Yep.
And how that can be very powerful in your journey, and also about how losing the momentum can be very detrimental as well.
Yeah.
So.
And it was something that we were talking about recently, because if you've been following us for a while, you know that we did a project last year that was a very long project. It took us 9 months to negotiate the whole thing. So it was a long process, a lot of back and forth, took us a long time. I mean, it's a great project now. We ended up closing on it. It's fantastic. It's done far better than we could have ever even predicted.
Yeah.
It could have gone. But during that, we were very focused. It's a bigger, like a multi-million, larger project. So we were very focused on it. It took a lot of our attention. And I don't think we realized until after that there were other pieces of our business that we had sort of lost the momentum in because we were so focused on that project.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad thing, because the project was a part of our momentum as well, right? Getting that project across the finish line was a different piece of our momentum. But after we finished it, we also took a bit of a break after because we were so exhausted from the project. Made sure that we stabilized it really well. And then when we decided to get back into finding new opportunities and new deals, we realized that we'd actually lost some momentum in that piece.
Yeah, I think it goes to show that you really need a team, and we've done multiple talks on how important it is to have the right team members in place. You don't want to be wearing too many hats. You can only be in so many places at once, right? So while we were working on the 24 unit and getting that through the finish line, there were hats that we couldn't wear through the rest of our business that that's why we ended up losing momentum, because we couldn't maintain the focus on those specific items.
Yeah, and the biggest one, like I think most specifically, was our deal flow momentum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We kept joking that we were getting almost back into like the dating pool because we had to, like, it's like we had been in this long relationship and we had to get back into the dating pool to find the next deal, and it had been such a long time.
Yeah.
Because before
that's how it
that,
felt. We're like, how do we do this again? Like, where?
How do we start?
Yeah.
I'm not getting sent any deals right now. How do we do this? Because before we had worked so hard on building the momentum for our deal flow. We were calling realtors. We were talking to different property owners. People knew that we were looking for a deal. So we were getting a lot of stuff sent to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we had put the work in, kind of chipped away at creating relationships so that people were sending us opportunities. And then, during the time of the deal, we kind of stopped that. And I'm not going to say I regret it in any way, because, like I said, that deal was a different piece of our momentum.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, that deal added to the momentum of deal flow in a sense as well. So it's not like we were starting from square zero, right? There was the having completed that larger deal actually helped with future deal flow as well. So it made it easier to contact other people, like other realtors and whoever is going to be sending us deals, because it's like the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
So they know that we're going to be able to bring this to the finish line. So it made that part easier.
yeah. Well,
that goes to show momentum right there, right?
Yes. What we did have to do was go back to those people and say, hey, we're back.
Hello.
We're here again. So it wasn't as
Send
hard.
us what you've got.
Yeah, it wasn't as hard to restart that momentum, because we had already built a bit of a foundation before, but we definitely had to kind of go back and, remind all these people that we were here and, kind of build that momentum up again with the deal flow piece. So it was an interesting process. But we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, but it has led to a success. So we'll leave that to the end.
Yeah, we'll end it with that.
Yeah. So I think taking a step back, how do you build momentum?
Honestly, building momentum, a lot of people look at the big picture. What is the end goal that they want? What is the what's the big achievement that they want? But what builds momentum is, what are the steps you need to take in order to get to that goal, to that larger goal, right? And we've talked about this before. There's a really good book called The One Thing that can really help you take your bigger goal and break it down into small, actionable steps. Like, what's the one thing that I need to do today to get, I guess we'll say here, build momentum to be able to finish my bigger goal. So taking small steps, I think, is one really good, powerful way to build momentum. If you think about swimming in a pool, you need to, even if you're just doggy paddling, these small steps are going to help you move forward, right? And then if you stop, you're still going to have that little drift.
Yeah, and taking those small steps, but doing it consistently.
Consistency is key, for sure.
Hey, James.
Clipping live, nice, I love it.
So yeah, it's not just about, it's the small steps, breaking it down, because if you're trying to wait for the big moment to push you forward into success, it's not going to happen, but you're going to be waiting a heck of a long time. And we were actually talking about this topic a little bit before we did this, and we made I think a pretty interesting analogy with it. But I'll save that for just after this.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not about just kind of waiting to see when that big change is going to happen. You have to take these small steps, and you have to take them consistently. So there is a bit of discipline that comes with creating momentum, because if you're not doing these things consistently every day, if you miss a day, I mean, even with these lives, there was a little while that we weren't on them because we were traveling, we were doing this, we were doing that, and we lost a bit of momentum with these lives even, and it was hard to get back into it.
Yeah, exactly. Like coming in, it's like, okay, we haven't done one in like 3 weeks. How do we do this again? Like,
how do we
what
do
are all
this?
the things that we need to do because we just didn't have that consistency?
Are people gonna watch because they now they're not like expecting us to be there because we haven't been here?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to be said about the small steps consistently and trying to be as disciplined as possible with that, because those small steps, doing those consistently, is what's going to build that momentum.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard, I think, at the beginning to see the momentum being built because you're just doing these things every day. It's like, getting in shape if you haven't been to the gym in a long time or what have you. You're not going to see a big change happen over going to the gym once.
That's right.
But it's going consistently even when you don't want to go, to make sure that you continue to go, and then you start to see the results. So sometimes it is hard to be consistent.
Yeah, the gym is actually a really good example. So I'm notorious for going through phases. So I will go to the gym for like 6 months, and that whole process, it's easy. And then I'll fall off. Something will happen. Maybe I'll get a cold and then I'll fall off. I'll lose my momentum from going, and then I'll stop. Restarting is so much more difficult because now you go through that whole muscle aches piece. Like it's hard to restart. But if throughout the 6 month period that I'm going, you lose that like muscle fatigue. You don't have that major soreness that you have if you haven't been in a month. So if you keep having to restart, then you're gonna have that muscle aching after you work out, the pain, every single time, and that's gonna be really hard to build that momentum.
Yeah.
So it's a really good example.
Yeah, and I think we can talk about the analogy that we were talking about earlier, because it's kind of going back to that waiting for that big change to happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny analogy. We were kind of spitballing back and forth about what we were going to be talking about today, and I don't know how surfing came up because neither of us surf. So
I've been surfing twice.
We have been surfing. I
think
surf.
I'm a regular surfer. Twice I've been through lessons.
And you've surfed in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
On 2 different continents.
I sure have.
So
I learned how to surf first in Hawaii, and then we went surfing in Ireland, which was very different. One of them I had to wear a wetsuit, and one of them I didn't.
Yeah. So you're basically an expert now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically an expert.
I could go again without lessons. I'm an expert.
I could maybe do it in Ireland. The waves were pretty small.
Yeah.
They weren't very big. So anyways, yeah, we were talking about surfing and how, like, kind of relating that to the idea of momentum, because we were talking about how you surf, and you get out into the water, you kind of wait in this like certain range where the waves hit, and you do sit there for a bit, but then you see a wave coming, and then you start to paddle, and you have to get the right amount of like paddling and momentum as you're doing that to be able to like stand up on the board and actually be able to hit the wave. And I'm really sorry if there's someone who
catch the wave.
See, I was just gonna say, I'm really sorry if you're a surfer and you're like, wow, she's really bad at explaining this. Again, not an expert.
I am a surfer, so I corrected you.
Yes, there we go.
We've been over this.
That's true. You can continue to correct my terminology. But the idea is that you have to create some momentum before the wave actually hits, so you can catch it appropriately and then ride it in.
Yeah.
And if you just sit there on your board and you wait for the wave to come and you don't actually have that momentum going, you miss it. So nothing really happens. If you're really in the wrong spot, it just goes over you, or maybe it just pushes you a little bit.
Yeah.
But nothing, like, you don't actually get to ride the wave. And it's very similar when you're trying to build momentum, because at first, like, obviously it's hard to get going at first. You can almost feel it kind of pulling you back a little bit. So you're trying to go, and it's difficult, but you're making a bit of progress. But that all ends up resulting in you being able to get on your board and ride the wave properly. So that is what momentum does, right? At first, nothing's really happening. You're moving, but you don't feel like you're moving. You don't feel like anything is being productive. but then you're able to take advantage of opportunities like that wave. So
I think that's a really good analogy and really good example, actually.
Weird spitballing analogies that come out of morning discussions, right? But yeah, that's the importance of momentum. And I think something actually that I don't know if you're still keeping up with it, but I have been, so I don't know if I'm gonna throw you under the bus right now. But doing like reflections on kind of daily wins. Have you been keeping
I haven't. I've been doing the weekly.
Okay, that's pretty good.
But I haven't been doing the daily.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it does help, at least like at some point, if you're kind of going back and like looking at kind of the small achievements that you've made, whether it's every day or every week, you're able to see what that progress looks like, because it is really hard when you're trying to be disciplined, you're trying to create this momentum, and it doesn't feel like you're getting that much closer to the end goal. But if you do kind of these daily reflections or weekly reflections, and you can kind of go back and say, okay, what's one thing I did today that pushed me in the right direction, even if it was like this itty bitty little thing, what's one thing I did, and then what's a success that I found today. And being able to do that allows you to realize that you are making progress, even if it doesn't feel like you are, because there are such tiny steps that you're taking every day.
Yeah. Well, even when you were talking about the surfing analogy, you mentioned it, that sometimes the wave before it actually curls, it will pull you back, right? And so it can feel like you're actually being pulled backwards when in reality you're just preparing to really move forward faster.
And again, this is where it's so super important to break down your goal, because you are taking such small steps every day.
Yeah.
So if you're taking such small steps, if you're walking through a forest and you don't have a path, you could be walking in circles if you're taking such small steps. But that's where making sure that those steps that you're taking are in the right direction, they're actually heading towards your goal, because it's really easy, if you're directionally challenged like me, trying to get yourself through a forest, it's really easy to start heading in the wrong direction. But if you have a very clear direction that you're going in, if the path is already, kind of created for you, and it's not that you're following your own path, it's not that you're following someone else's, but you've made it very clear which direction you're going in, it makes it a lot easier to make sure that those steps are in the right direction. And then going back and reanalyzing them.
Yeah. Small steps are important, and the right small steps are even more important.
Yeah. And then even more important is doing them very consistently.
Consistently is key. Yeah. For sure.
I have a
you don't have momentum if it's not consistent, right?
No. It goes. That was exciting. I have a student that I've been working with, doing more like showing up on social media, posting consistently, showing up consistently. And, we've been working for, I think, a couple months now already. And she was saying, I have people reaching out to me because they're saying, hey, I've seen you so much on social media, you're doing all these cool things, like, I'd love to reach out and have a conversation about what you're up to. And she's been working on this now for a couple of months, and now she's starting to kind of reap the reward of that. But it's because she's been so consistent and just out there and like every day doing her thing, and it's all built up. It's someone was making fun of our Canadian way of saying it. It's the snowball effect, and apparently only Canadians say this.
Really?
I don't know.
What do they call it?
Momentum.
We should have named this power lunch the snowball effect.
We should have. We are in fact Canadians. But it truly is a snowball effect, right? Like it starts small, but it's rolling, it's getting bigger, and then in the end it's a full-on snowman.
Snowman, I guess, or snowball. I guess if you've never actually built a snowman before, or a snowball, then you wouldn't understand what the relevance of that is. So.
Yeah, if you live in a place that doesn't get snow, you've never built a snowball.
Interesting. But you've seen Frosty. I feel like everybody's, I don't know. I'm assuming.
They're probably like, that's cold and looks unfortunate. I'm not gonna watch that.
So, momentum and our deal flow momentum. Where did that bring us?
Yes. So again, going back to, we had great momentum. We lost it for a little bit because we weren't focusing on it, but it's okay. Our focus needed to be elsewhere. Fine. We started to rebuild it. It was a little bit easier because we had some foundation already. And we did start to create some deal flow. And we're actually technically working on 2 different projects right now.
Yeah.
But we have
one of them's more relevant to the deal flow. Or,
yeah.
Sorry, to the deal flow momentum.
Yeah, we have a project that we have under contract right now, which has been really exciting. We went to go see it. When did we do the walkthrough? A week ago?
Last week? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
Everything's blurring together. We went to go see it. It's an amazingly well-kept building. So it's really exciting. We're kind of, not only are we back in the deal flow or in the dating pool, we are dating again.
Yes. We have a new suitor.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's an exciting deal. If you're interested in learning more about that, reach out to us.
Yes.
Because there might be some opportunity to get involved.
Yeah, it's an exciting one. It's we talked about. Did we do a topic on the Costco effect? Did we actually talk about it on one of these?
I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to do it again. I made a post about it, but I can't remember if we actually talked about it.
No, I don't think we did. I think it was a post.
But
So check out Dakota's posts. You'll see him talk about the Costco effect. Why do we buy in bulk?
We are buying in bulk. And the idea is that it helps. You already have the systems there. You already know it's a good area. You've already done the research on it. You can negotiate contracts a little bit easier. So, yeah. So we're building our portfolio in one area, and this project is in that area. So it's really exciting. We've already got kind of the teams in place, kind of just waiting, ready for it. So it's it's an exciting one.
The systems are already there. It's really exciting for this. So yeah, it's capital preservation deal.
Yeah.
Buy and hold.
It's gonna be a good one.
It's very turnkey. So
yeah, works from day one.
Yeah, positive cash flow from day one.
Yeah, we like ones that can mitigate a lot of risk, and these ones that work from day one mitigate a lot of risk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're into that. If you know me, I'm not a very risk-taking type of person, so I like to mitigate a lot of risk.
Yeah.
So yeah. So if you want to learn more about what we have going on, like Jeff said, there might be opportunity to get involved in that one. So send us a DM, and we can chat about it. Yeah. Otherwise, that's it for momentum and
our power
building momentum. I think we can just kind of end it with, it's important to build momentum and be consistent. And if you stop, it's much harder to restart.
Yeah.
That's that.
So thank you for tuning in. We will be back next week. So every Tuesday, 12:30 Eastern, we come online and we do a live power lunch. This is also available if you can't make it at this time. It's also available on our YouTube channel, so go make sure you subscribe. You'll be notified when we go live. You'll be notified when new videos get released, so that you can come and watch it if you're not able to make it live. But we do like these to be interactive, so if you can make it live, that's perfect, and we can interact while we're doing this.
Yeah. Otherwise, we will see you again next week, 12:30 Eastern on Tuesday.
Take care.